Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all of you, and welcome to Ben's Camera Show. And I hope we got a bit of a better sound quality this week than last week. I found that I had some settings a bit wrong on my microphone last week, which is why it's all overmodulated and distorted. But hey, this isn't Ben's sound show. This is Ben's Camera Show. So, already people in the chat. Let's see who's here. Oh, some of the old suspects and some new faces too. Hello to everyone. I shall be calling you out by name later on. Keep the comments coming. I shall be looking at them now and then. How are you all doing? Yeah. I'm doing fine, thank you. Yes, it's been a quiet week. August. Everyone's away. You know, it's a kind of a boring weather now. It's not warm anymore. Never thought I'd miss the heat, but yeah, just grey and boring today. Rain. Nothing to do except prepare for the camera show. So here I am, and here you all are, and thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining each other. Michael Carter. Hello. My God. The governor is in the house today. Anyone who's aware of Michael's work will know that he is the man when it comes to testing out film stocks and a bunch of other camera stuff as well. So now, tonight we've got a special treat because we're going to look at a camera which I do not own, and I had to borrow it. And I promised you last week, and it's here today, the Nikon R10. But before that, I thought I'd just show you a little something that happened to me this spring when we went to when I did a show with Exploding Cinema in the lovely town of Rhayader in Wales. Lovely people, lovely town, did a great show, and I took some footage. Let's just have a look for it while we all get ourselves ready. Here I am, and here's the oh no, it's not in it's in this one. Yes, of course. Right. So it was this was I shot, I think, on 200T. I've slowed it down a bit because I didn't shoot very much. Those are the lovely projections that we do on the walls of Exploding, and there's me with my Sankyo with the flash. Took some still images. There's a flash, and there's an image I took. This was filmed by my mate Adam from Exploding, there he is. There's a picture of him on Super 8 there, on 200T. Great stuff. We filled the room with projections. We showed a whole bunch of short films, and a good time was had by all. And there's me on the stage, and there's the place we stayed. Now, the interesting thing is that after the show, we all went back to the cabin where we were staying, and what should we see in the sky but this? Oh, wait a minute. Let's get the back slideshow off. There we go. We saw this. We saw none other but the Aurora Borealis. It took a detour south, and it was a very nice. Okay, that's not what we saw. That's not what we saw. Let me show you my pictures of what we saw, which was different from the photos and the videos that you see. Did anyone else see the Aurora? This was in April, May. Yeah, I think it was early May. It's a sunspot activity or something. So, of course, I did not hesitate, but take a couple of photos. And there's one of them. Yeah, in a bit dark. And that was a 32-second exposure on my phone. But having put it through Photoshop and whatnot, we enhanced a bit and got... There we go, got some very nice, it was kind of pink, and it was, all seemed to be coming from one sort of line in the sky. Enhance a bit more, there we go, lovely stuff. I don't have to go to Norway or Iceland or Sweden now, because my Aurora, which is on my bucket list, I saw in Wales of all places. Let's see another photo. Nice, enhanced a bit there. On the video, it often looks green, but it was very pink when I saw it. Something to do with oxygen ions, I've been told. Pink and purple. Now, the interesting thing is, if any of you seen the Aurora, is that it was a lot dimmer than the pictures you see in the papers and in the media. In fact, you usually see it like that, but it looked. There's the Great Bear there, the Big Dipper, and in the middle there. But it looked more like kind of that, which leads me to wonder: have all the pictures and video? There's unenhanced, enhanced. See, have all the pictures and video we've seen of the Aurora been touched up? Because a lot of people said that it looked better on their phones, on their phone pictures, than it did in real life. So I'm wondering what's going on. Are they selling us a nice picture of the Aurora that doesn't actually look like how it looks like? And that's without the enhancement and with. So of course I went with the enhancements because I mean, look at it; it looks much better. And that's the normal how it looks, and that's enhanced. So yeah. And if you look at the video that people take of, whoops, not that one. If you see the video, I noticed something interesting, which was the okay. This is just from YouTube. This is not the footage I took. But if you look at the Aurora with when you see water. The water is not moving. Look at that. Look at that water, the way the water's moving. That's not natural. That's sped up. This has been shot with some sort of low frame rate video. There, see that as well. See? This has all been sped up. Every single frame of this must have got a long exposure. So there, see the water? See the water? Yeah. This is not actual, 25 frames per second video as you normally see it. So I don't know what's going on there. I think the people who photograph auroras ought to be investigated, I guess starting with me. Old Radio says, I missed it in May because I decided to go to bed reasonable hour. That one day I worked that week. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Anyway, so this side towards screen, it's just a projection on a flat Earth dome. Yep, that must be it. Yep, okay. Well, anyway, so there's my Aurora conspiracy theory. It looked very nice. I didn't take that, but look at the water there. When you look at Aurora footage, watch out. Someone's pulling the veil over your eyes, in my opinion. Anyway, so that's that. That's just a bit of intro stuff while we all take our seats and get ready for the main event of the evening, which is, as I've been promising, promising for some time now, it is, of course, the amazing Nikon R10. That's what we're going to look at today. I'm going to call it Nikon. I know some people call it Nikon. Some people call it Nikon. Tomato. What am I going to tell you? It is what it is. It's everyone knows what I'm talking about when I talk about Nikons. And here it is, lent to me by the lovely Stephanie Sean Smith. Thank you, Stephanie, for lending me this camera. Right, where should we start? Well, normally we start with loading the battery. No. Knob top. I didn't take flash. Flash photos. Yes, with a film movie camera. Oh, you've got a treat coming up. We're gonna be doing it with this camera as well. Exciting. Anyway, let's get some batteries in this sucker. You get a coin or whatever. You undo this thing. You undo the screw. I've got it so I can just grip it with my finger, and then this whole bit comes out. I'd like to give a special welcome to anyone who's bought one of these and is looking at the replay in order to get some instructions on how to use this. We're going to go on the deepest dive into this camera. I don't care if we're here all night long. So I do care if we're all night long. I'll get very silly towards the end of the evening. So battery compartment comes off, battery cover comes off, and the batteries are loaded into one of these, which is a pretty common or garden battery. Actually, it's not common. It's a battery holder. Quite often you get these cameras come up for sale on eBay without these battery holders because some numpty has put them in the camera with the batteries in and left it for 10 years and the batteries have leaked and they're trying to find another one of these. Very difficult to find one of those. Maybe you can 3D print it. Anyway, they go into the handle, easy peasy, and the cover goes on top. And you just screw that in like so. And you can tighten it with a coin. I'm not going to bother because this is good enough. And there you go, Nikon R10. Good night, everyone. Oh dear, I crack myself up sometimes, don't I? Right, let's go. Firstly, after the batteries have loaded, this L, that is the trigger lock. You push it in and whoop, and then R. Oh, it's run. It's not it's not left and right. It's lock and run. So push the R in, and we're ready to hit the trigger here. Let's have a bit of audio on that. See what it sounds like. Nice, nice, ooh, nice, healthy, healthy sound there. So that's the trigger and the battery. Next, well, I'm just going to show you. This is actually a very, very deep function that probably no one will use because you need to have hardware for it. This is a remote control unit. So you can plug that in. It's radio control. You can trigger this camera from remotely. If you've plugged something into there and a receiver and you've got a transmitter, you can get it to start and stop with radio functions. Not many cameras have that, but this does. Of course, you need the accessories for that, so which we'll get into in a second. There. In fact, let's have a look at the some of the accessories that you can get on this thing. Why not? There we go. This photo sent to me by Andre Hagers. And thank you very much, Andre, for all the help and advice you gave me about this. So this here, that's the remote control cable. This cable here is plugs into here, and it's the tape recorder sync cable. So this thing is not a sound camera, but you can get it to trigger a tape recorder by plugging this into one end with this wire here and the other end into a tape recorder, so you can start and stop the camera and the tape at the same time. Interesting feature there. What else? Okay, let's just knock out some of the easy ones first. This is the battery indicator lamp. You push this button here and this light comes on. The light doesn't seem to be working because these are perfectly good batteries and the light doesn't come on when I press that. Never mind, whatever. I know the batteries are good. What else? What next? What next? So done the trigger, the battery indicator. Okay. Let's go on this side. In fact, I'm going to get a box to put this on just so I don't have to hold it up so much. Flying O says R8 versus R10. Only lens difference? There's a few differences. Unfortunately, I don't have an R8 to compare it to, but there are a few differences. But I mean, they're both very good cameras. Much like the B&H Filmosonic. Yes, indeed, I have made a film about that, about the Filmosonic and how it can trigger tape recorders. Anyway, let's get on to this. This is the film speed selector. As we can see, it will give you single frame SF, 18 frames a second, 24 frames a second, and 54 frames a second. Interesting spread of speeds there. And here is the light meter compensation dial. So you can get it. It's very difficult to turn this thing. But if you want the auto light metering to go up a stop or down a stop, then you just switch it to one of these. Strange that they have it along with the film speed selector. By the way, you have to press this button in to change the film speed, which is a sort of a safety thing, I suppose. So that's handy. You can't accidentally go to a different speed. Right. Battery indicator lamp. Right. Now the film compartment. Yes, let's open up the film compartment and have a look. There's some very, very interesting stuff going on in here. As you hear, whoa, hey. No, the real business of it is here. Firstly, this kind of springy thing gets pushed in when you put a cartridge in. And at the same time, gosh, I can hardly see. Look at this. I need some sort of indicator here. I'll use this. Look at this lever here. That is the film ISO detector, and as you can see, it's not those little buttons that you have on some cameras. It's a lever, a bit like on the Canon 814 auto zoom, which means that it can meter all the way from ISO like 50D all the way down to 500 by sliding this thing down there. In fact, I can show you. I'm sure you all know about this already, but this gap here, that's what tells the cartridge what ISO film you've put into it. Not this particular cartridge, 'cause that's a reloadable, but that gap there, that lever goes down it. Nice little system. It can automatically do that. It can automatically detect any commercial Super 8 cartridge. Down here, you can see it just about that little dot there by the thing. That's a pin that gets pushed in if you've put film in that does not require the daylight filter. When you push that in, the daylight filter goes away. Hey, Mike's in the house. Hey, Mike. I promise I will catch you on one of your live streams. It feels very one-sided here, but anyway, let's move on. So if you push that in, the daylight filter goes away. The normal default position of this is with the daylight filter in. That's with the orange filter inside. And there's a few ways to cancel it. There's to push that in by the cartridge, which usually just does the job. And you can also stick something into this slot on here. Now, in fact, that accessories picture I just showed you here. Let's, oops. Oh, of course, it's, there we go. There it is. See, there's the filter key that you're supposed to put into the top of it there. However, I have this one from a UMIG, and that slots into there. There we go. Goes into there. And if you push it down, that will cancel the daylight filter as well. There we go. Take it out. If you don't have one of those, by the way, if you don't have one of these, you can cut an old credit card or a store loyalty card to approximately the right dimensions, and that will do the job. So, little tip for you there. If you don't have, if you want a bit more control, of course, you can put a daylight filter onto the front. You can screw it right on there. The filter diameter is 67 millimeters. The filter thread size is 67. Here I have a 62 millimeter one with a little adapter, so it'll fit on there. Doesn't give me much vignetting. It's all right. And of course, you use the daylight filter, everyone, when you're filming tungsten film outdoors in daylight, or indoors in daylight. Don't forget that. Right. What's next? We've done the daylight filter pen. Right. Cancelling the daylight filter. Oh, yes. Okay. On top as well, we have this. This is a simple shoe. What can you put into the shoe? Well, you could put a microphone in there. You could put a movie light in there. Or you can put a flash in there. And this is going back to what that guy was saying about you've never seen a Super 8 camera with a flash on top of it. You can fix a flash to the top, and with this camera you can plug it right into this flash socket here. Let's have some fun with this. Let's switch it on first and get that amazing old flash noise. Listen to this. Hey, yeah, we all remember all that noise. And let's see. I put it onto single frame. Get my front camera on here, and then you have, of course, the camera here with the flash on it, and let's take a picture. Probably didn't come out in the on the stream, but probably just a white flash there. But yes, you can take single pictures. In fact, listen to that shutter. That is a, hang on, let's switch off that thing. That's a Nikon special, isn't it? That noise. It sounds like a proper SLR camera, doesn't it? Because that's what Nikon did. They made proper SLR cameras, and after all. Let's get me back into my little box, and we will get the camera back on here. Right. So yes, you can straight away, already you can do about 3 times more things on this camera than you can on lots of other Super 8 cameras. You can take flash pictures. I mean, this already puts it into the top say 6 of all Super 8 cameras. And by the way, there's been some talk about what are the top. I've been piloting this show on the basis of it's of it being one of the greatest Super 8 cameras ever made. Oh dear, what's happened to my top picture? Top camera. Give it a second to just get better there. I would say it's one of these. I'd say the Nikon, the Canon 814 XLS or 1014 XLS. I would say the Bolear 4008 ZM2, the Nizo Pro, and what's another one? Oh yeah, there's a very good Minolta as well, which I'm going to be talking about in a future show. So yeah, I'd say those are like the top Super 8 cameras out there, including this one. Why have I got such awful frame rate here? I'm using a different camera for the top because it's the last time it was terrible focus. Oh yeah, we got our frame rate back a bit there. So we've done the flash, we've done the tape sync. Right, the lens. Of course, this is a Nikon lens, and it is a mother effer. It is a really, really good lens. I would put this up there with the Canon 814 XLS, this lens. I mean, Nikon are the lens people, aren't they? It's like, you know, they didn't want to make a Super 8 camera, which was a piece of trash. They really wanted it up to the level of their best SLR cameras, and this is a damn good lens. In fact, let's have a look at, oh well, before we go any further, here's the focus, as you can see, and it's got a 10 times zoom. Nice. And if you flip this here, there's the macro. Just simple as that. So regular shooting and macro shooting. And we're going to see some footage from that. In fact, let's see how it looks through the eyepiece when you look through this thing. Let's have a look. So here we go. So that's the zoom, the 10 times zoom. And as you can see in the center, it has a focus aid, and that's how you do it. You go in and out of focus, and you see the picture splits left and right. In fact, let's see that in close up. Let's see in close up how that looks. And this is the case for all the cameras that have this system. See, they get displaced. The picture gets all crooked, and then when you got the picture straight like that, you know your focus is good. So there's your zoom and focus. Now, what's next? I've got this all in order, by the way. So yes, okay. Let's talk about exposure for a second here. Now this EE lock here and manual, this is your exposure button. And the idea is you pull it out and then you can turn it and it will open and close your iris. Easy peasy. Push it back in and it becomes automatic. However, this camera has a problem. Yes, that's true. In my camera there is problem. And that problem is, it's not my camera. Stephanie lent me this camera, and I had to report to her, unfortunately, that it is stuck. The exposure is stuck. It is stuck on f8. Now, in fact, let's see a picture. Let's see a nice picture of the of how it looks. There we go. So I got a nice picture. There we go. So look, that's stuck there. It doesn't matter how much I change the manual or the auto. It does not make any difference. It is stuck in this position. Now there's worse f-stops to be stuck in. Here's another camera, had the same problem, exactly the same problem, and it was also stuck on f8, close up there. So this might be some kind of issue that these cameras have. If you're ever thinking of buying one, watch out, because you might find the exposure stuck. It's probably just the age. Maybe something needs lubricating, something got old, whatever. We will go into various ways to get around that, but I'll show you what happens when you try and adjust the focus manually when you put this when you look through this camera. Look at the top there. See? When I turn that knob, that's all it does. It just wiggles back and forth like that. Unfortunately. See that again at the very top? I'm turning the... In fact, I can show you. I'm turning how I turn the knob. Here. So I turn this knob. I pull it out. I turn it. And this is all that happens. See? There, see? Tiny bit of play. And it doesn't even seem to translate to anything in the that I can see through the lens. So it is what it is. However, this is such a great camera that we cannot write it off just because it's stuck on an f-stop like that. Flying O says, good spot to be stuck at. That's right. F8, don't be late. That's what they said. F8, don't be late. If you stick on F8, you won't be late getting your shot because you can just film it. Check this bit out here. See this? What's this? This is something that very few cameras have. Only the real top ones have. The Canon 814, the Bolear. Does the Niso even have it? I'm not even sure. This is a variable shutter adjustment. Yay! Which is this button right here. And it works. This one, you push in and turn it. And the shutter blades change to a different angle. Now, am I going to show you all what shutter angles are all about? I might as well. I'm here, you're here. You know, it's a good opportunity to do it. Let's quickly show you what shutter angles. Okay, this thing has a changeable shutter blade. So imagine this is the blade inside the camera. I've done this before on my show, but I like this piece of kit here. So this is the shutter. It spins around 18 times a second or 24 frames a second or however many times a second that you've specified. And most cameras, that's it. You know, it spins around and that's all you get. However, this one can go from something like this, 160 degrees, to 80 degrees. This is, by the way, the amount of degrees that are open, not closed. And then it can go even down to 40 degrees. So it gives you 3 different shutter angles. And the best thing about that is it gives you a lot of flexibility when you do some when you have too much light and you want to stop it down a bit. It does other things as well, which I'll get into. Let's have a look at what happens inside the viewfinder when that happens. So look on the right-hand side there. Over here. See, when you turn that knob, this goes down. So that's open, that's closed completely. That's quarter shutter, half shutter, open shutter. Okay, and when you do, whoop, it can do it automatically as well. So you can do a fade out. In fact, I might as well show you. When you're filming, see it has FO and FI. That stands for fade out and fade in. So if I was filming. Oops, I'm still in single frame. So when you're filming and you push it up for FO, that's fade out. That means the shutter will slowly close automatically. You push it down, that's fade in. So you start filming with that in that position and then you let go and it will fade in. I'll show you that again inside the eyepiece. There you go. That's all automatic, fading out. And again, when you want to fade in, oh, there it goes. Should we see how that translates to an actual piece of film? Why not? Let's have a look here. Here we go. So here's a fade as performed by this camera. Come on then. Oh, okay, I was wrong one. Okay, here we go. So fade in like that and fade out. Here we go. Here's a fade out. Lovely rose. And the shutter closes. Boom, boom, boom. See? Automatic fade. And now it's fade in again. Oh, are we going to fade in? Lovely. See? A nice smooth fade. Don't have to do it with the iris or anything. Very nice. It's all a bit slowed down. Now, there's a lot of other features which can happen when you have control over your shutter. For instance, we're talking dissolves. We're talking double exposure. We're talking the camera can run backwards, which is no mean feat for a Super 8 camera. And now I'd like to get even deeper into the function of this thing, how it does these amazing things. In fact, let's see a dissolve. So dissolve basically happens when you fade it out, run it backwards, and then fade in again on the next scene. Okay? And that produces something like this, which is a lovely in-camera dissolve. Way, you can do it in 10 seconds on Premiere. And here's a double exposure you can do as well, fading backwards and then just filming. 200T there. Now, in-camera dissolves are something I do not like to do generally because the camera's old. It could get stuck while doing this. The cartridges don't like it. It's something that you can do in Premiere. You can do it. You can do all sorts of things electronically afterwards. You don't have to do it on the film anymore. It's basically best not to do any fancy nonsense like this these days with these cameras, because who knows? You could get stuck halfway, and then you've got a stuck shutter. Then you're screwed. Ah, brilliant design. Fancy. This side towards screen says fancy. Yes. Old Ray is scared to use those features. You should be scared. You should be, especially if it's not your camera. I thought it suddenly went dead in the middle of doing this. And I thought, oh no, I've broken Stephanie's camera. Don't worry, Stephanie, I've not broken your camera. It's just part of the slightly hair-raising functions on this thing. Now, how does it do all this stuff? Super 8's not supposed to go backwards. It's got all sorts of safeguards to stop you doing that. Well, let's go on here. Here we go. Now, this was given to me by Andre Hargers. Thank you, Andre. Okay, is this clear? Good, we can move on. So what we're looking at here is the gate of the camera. In fact, let me hold it up live here. And there we go. Now, these cameras, that thing that's circled there is the important part. Let's get that away from there. That bit that's circled there is very important. Okay, and I'm gonna quote some of Andre's emails to me, his messages to me. Let's see it in action first. So this is running forward. See, that's running forward. And then look down here when you switch it there, when you switch to backward, look what happens. And that's actually running the other way. You can't see it because it's too fast, but look. Oh, okay, so this is a normal camera. This is a Minolta. See, there's nothing down here. Most Super 8 cameras just have a claw up there, which pulls the film forward in only that direction. Nothing down here. The Nikon's got this thing, which are called the stop pins. And it's going to change again when I go from forward to backwards. And the reason that we have these things, I'm just going to quote Andre here. He said, the brilliant yet simple mini ramps near the film gate are essential. Let's just turn that down a bit. It's just annoying. Okay. So he said the brilliant yet simple mini ramps near the film gate, that's this, are essential to forcing the film in the proper place for sharp images. The stop pins are fixed position. Either one is protruding depending on the rewind or forward switch. The stop pin makes sure the film is steady during the exposure. By design, when the film is running, advanced continuously, and the puller's a bit strong, it will move the film when the shutter is open. You know, you get those smeary streaks. This happens when the pickup torque is too strong due to aging or lost setting. He said the mini ramps, let's see the mini ramps. Okay, so here, just here, and you see that line there? In fact, you can just about see it in the picture here. Yeah, so it's basically there's a ramp there that stops the film from touching the gate when it's going through. And these pins will enable the film to smoothly go in either direction, up or down. He said a full understanding of the air channel principle of Super 8 is important. Super 8 doesn't have a contact-making pressure plate. The cartridge has a plastic half which interlocks with the metal gate with knobs in the camera and thus forms a channel through which the film flies, not being pressed by either. Now, basically, that means that when you film with a Super 8 cartridge, you see that metal bit behind? What you're looking at, here we go, I've got one. What you're looking at is one of these. Usually it's plastic, but in these reloadables, it's metal. And this sits behind the film. And this thing interlocks with this metal bit here, and the film is exposed while basically hovering in the air between the two plates. So the claw, this bit here, is pulling the sprocket holes down one at a time. And well, never mind this bit here. But in normal Super 8 cameras, the film is exposed in the air as it goes from one side to the other. And when you're looking at a focal plane like this, just a millimeter each side is gonna have a difference. Going to make an effect on the focus of your picture. So I guess what I'm saying is that Nikon put an awful lot of work into producing a gate unlike any other Super 8 camera. This you don't get this on the Niso, on nothing. It's only on the Nikon, and maybe the R8 as well. And here's the gate. See, when you put the cartridge in, it just wrong way around. Oh bugger, it's stuck now. Okay, there it is. Here we go. So that just fits onto there like that, and that holds there, and the film goes in between them. There we go. So that means basically the upshot is that this camera can run forwards, backwards, and do all those fancy things like dissolves, fades, and double exposures. Now, how do you do a dissolve on this thing? Well, I'm not going to do one, but I'll I'll tell you to do one. I've got the instructions here, and my goodness, it's a little bit complicated. Here we go, under Cine Techniques. To do a, let's do a dissolve. A dissolve, yes, that would be on, here we go. Double exposure, overlap, reverse filming. Set the OLDE switch to OL, that's overlap, like that. Aim the camera at the first scene, press the trigger while filming, and then it will automatically stop fading out in 5.5 seconds, and then you switch this to the rewind position, and then you hit the trigger. Nothing, it won't be filming, it'll be rewinding the film, and after it's finished rewinding the film, you switch this one back to forward, and then you start filming again, and it'll film the next scene fading in automatically. It's a horrible and complicated and scary process, and I recommend you not do it. Just use the camera for what it does best, which is just to film, and film very, very nicely. Costa Rica says, over, under, sideways, down. Oh, old radios might have to dip out. Never mind, we'll keep it up online. Thanks for joining us if you have to go. Right, we've seen the dissolves, we've seen all that, we've seen the iris now. So what are we going to do about this thing stuck at f8? Okay, can we only go and film in very, very specific lighting conditions? Can we? Or can we use the exposure triangle? The exposure triangle is a nice visual way to show how the brightness of your picture is not just dependent on the aperture of the camera. You've also got the ISO of the film, and you've got the shutter speed. Now, with a lot of cameras, most Super 8 cameras, your shutter speed is locked. It's like 1/30th or 1/40th. You're stuck there. You're shit out of luck if you want to try a different shutter speed. Some of the good ones have got a couple of different shutter speed. This one, as I said, has got four different shutter angles. One is 0, the 160. Let's get the actual numbers here. You might want to know what percentage of a second, or what fraction of a second it is when you are changing your shutter angle. Here we go. So let's say 18 frames a second. We're going to just stick at 18 frames a second. when the shutter is full open at 160, that's 1/40th of a second. When it's half open, it's at 1/81st of a second, call it 1/80th. And when it's 3/4 closed, it's 1/162nd of a second. So you're going to need some pretty bright light if you do it on quarter shutter. And I'm going to show you what all these look like. In fact, let's have a look at what these look like. Let's have a look on a very bright sunny day when f8 would probably overexpose the film a bit. Let's see what it looks like when we muck about and try and change our exposure using the shutter rather than the iris, because the iris is out of action. For this, I used some very nice Fomapan R100. I tested 2 Nikons, and then I compared them. I tested them with a Canon 1014 XLS, so we'll have a look at that as well. So here we go. So this is a full shutter right here. Yeah, look, see those chairs there? They're kind of bleached out. So half shutter, quarter shutter, closed shutter, half, quarter, closed. There we go. So let's see those again. It doesn't make an awful lot of difference, to be honest. It's one stop per halving or doubling of the shutter. So half shutter, quarter shutter. I'm not sure which of those I would have used. Full shutter, half, quarter, probably a half shutter, which would be f16, which would be sunny 16 for ISO 100 film. So yeah, I would go for half shutter in this case. Although that's a bit dark when the sun went in. Ah, now look at this. This is the macro. Isn't that lovely? Film these little guys on using the camera's macro. Really sharp macro. Really easy to use. I love the macro on this thing. Let's have a look at the other Nikon, which also had a stuck f8. Full shutter, half shutter, quarter shutter. Yeah, I reckon the half shutter would have been the one. And the other one, another macro shot. Probably the full shutter would look better. Michael Carter said the clouds begin to show. Yes, that's true, Michael. When if you want to tell whether you're overexposing or not, like whether your sky gets bleached out, that's a real indicator. So look at the clouds again. So yeah, at half shutter you can see the clouds better. It's a bit difficult really to work out where to fix your exposure, because like in this case, you know, you want the flowers and the grass and the trees to look good, but you don't want to bleach out the sky. Get a film with good latitude, you know. Yes, Super Cine 6100 says Foma R100 is lovely. It is. It's a really nice reversal black and white film. I think I've developed this in Ilford LC29 for 7 minutes at 21 degrees for first developer. I bleached it using potassium permanganate bleach, and I did second developer. I just stuck it back in the Ilford for the second developer. Come out lovely. Although a bit of craziness on the left hand side there. See the clouds? Oh, anyway. In the kitchen, yeah, too dark at f8. That's a shame. Let's compare that with the Canon 1014. So this Canon, I could actually change the aperture. I shot this at f16, 150 degree shutter, and they only got 2 options, which is 150 and 220, and that's the macro on the Canon. Overexposed, maybe a hair, slightly exposed. So f22 kind of did the job really. There's a wallaby. Anyway, let's just see. A lot of stuff went by there without. There we go. So f22, 150 degree shutter. Yeah. So there's the compare the lenses. I mean, it's pretty much equivalent. I can't really see much of a difference between the Canon 1014 lens and let's see the Nikon lens. You can get a bit closer actually with the Nikon. I mean, they're pretty much, you know, top of the line lenses. What do you want from me? This side towards screen asks, would an ND filter help, or a color filter for black and white? Yes, indeed it would. If you want to stop down your film, if it's too bright at f8 and you can't change the aperture, then you could put an ND filter on. But you know, with this particular camera, why bother? You can change the shutter. The problem really comes when you're in lower light, on lower lighting. Yes, that's when your only option really is to go with ISO, is to use the ISO of your film, because shutter speed on low light, you're going to be fully open. Okay, so forget that. Aperture with these cameras, f8, you're stuck there. So your only option is to change the ISO. And of course, I have filmed some scenes on color film of a couple of different ISOs, and we can see the result of that with this camera. Yeah, there's a Super Cine 16, by the way, says yes, you can get foam pan as double Super 8. You have to split it and reload. Just a point about that. I buy it already when someone's already done that. It's my mate from Russia, who I've spoken about before, who basically slits that stuff and repackages it and sells it in little bags, which you can then fit into one of these reloadable cartridges. Bosh, job done. So let's have a look at what happens when I put some films of different ISOs into this camera. Maybe we can get some low light performance out of it, even though it's stuck at f8. Let's see. Okay, so I put them. Okay, firstly, we're going to look at it. This is uncorrected. Whoops, not that. Sorry about that. All I've done here is it looks very blue, I know. I have not done any color correction at all. This was color negative film. I didn't do any color correction at all. I just inverted it. So it's a straight invert from the negative. I will be showing you some corrected, quite badly corrected film later. But let's just see it without any correction so we get the true sense of the difference between 200T and 500T. Don't see a lot of difference here. Here, now you can see it. I'm going to pause that for a second. So this was in the evening at sunset. There's a little bit more you can see on the left, on the right. That's 500T. Not an awful lot more. That's 200T on the left. Again, okay, so this is outdoors. Yes, the 500T does a little bit better. The colors are a bit better. The exposure is a bit better in a dim light. This was indoors in the evening. I took the daylight filter off for this. 200 on the left, 500 on the right. In fact, wait a minute. I've got a sign here, haven't I? Oh, it's on the other one. Okay. So, and then finally, bright sunny weather. And I did this with the three different shutter angles as well. As you can see, it's getting darker there. Let's have a look at that with a bit of very, very poor correction on my part. Just trying to make it look a bit more normal. So yeah, 200T. In fact, let's see him. Well, let's see him side by side first. Let's see him side by side corrected. So yeah, I used Premiere. I know people can do it on DaVinci. I'm sure it can be done a lot better, but I just want to take some of that blue away. To be honest, the difference between 200T and 500T is only one stop, basically, if you're using the daylight filter. So they're not all that different, 200 and 500. There's only one stop difference. And in bright light, you know, they both do okay. F8 seems to be in the shade. It seems to be the better one to go with. See that again, just full screen there. So that's 200T, 500T. I would have done a better job developing and color correcting this if I hadn't rushed it. But there you go. See, look. Yeah, you can use it during the day. And this Nikon, I think f8 full open shutter was probably the best. As we close the shutter, it starts to get a bit dimmer there. So yeah, so you know, we have a couple of options with this. If I owned this camera, I'd still use it stuck at f8. I'd just be careful not to do any like dark indoors filming. Michael Cart said red and orange darken the blue sky. Yeah, it's interesting that because as exposure went up and down, so did the color balance. Underexposed negative always comes out more blue, and overexposed comes out more orange. It must be something to do with the emulsion. Filmboy says looks groovy. Thanks, Filmboy. How much was this? If you want to buy one, let's hop on eBay and let's see let's see how much you expect to pay for this. Right. The cheapest currently available one I could find that says that's working is £229. I think that one had some issues. You're looking at about £300 from Austria, 305, 306, 366. Wow, look at that. Look at that lens. Wow. Never mind. And a really good one, like a really top of the line, like quality one that in mint, you're looking at a lot. That's like $535. I mean, these are probably the equivalent prices in dollars in America. If you were to go to the wonderful people at Click and Sir, and they only sell like serviced, mint, reliable, top of the line cameras. They don't even have an R10, probably it got sold, but they do have an R8 for €800, which, you know, if you want a camera with that's guaranteed working, then, you know, why the hell not? Go to Click and Sir in Berlin. So the Nikon R10. Any questions? Because I think I've gone over every single part of this. Oh, the only thing really I didn't go is this. That focuses the eyepiece, and that open and closes the eyepiece. Nothing really to add to that. On the whole, extremely good camera. Heavy, definitely in the top 6, maybe even in the top 5, depending on how you feel about Nizos. Lyndon B says, "Hi Ben, a bit late. Oh, you're in time for the fun now." Yes, we're going to have some fun now. Okay, enough for the Nikon. Goodbye to the Nikon. Thank you all for watching for the Nikon, but keep watching because we're going to have some fun. Basically, let's turn this second screen off. Okay. One of the things I was doing in the last year was doing essential research in the form of clocking up about 1,000 hours on Grand Theft Auto. And the reason I did that, other than, well, to have fun, was, it's not the reason I did it, but this is something I discovered, which is that there's something called the Rockstar Editor on Grand Theft Auto. So you can play the game, you can record what's going on, and then you can make a little film of it. So that's what I did. So let's go into the screening room, and we'll have yeah. Michael says, "Hi Ben, here for the fun." Good. This is the fun bit. All right. What am I talking about? Okay, so here we go. So here's my character, Bojack Cameraman, and let's give him a rocket launcher. And this was just like I played the other day. What are we going to do? I'm just making a little action here so I can edit it. Let's see. Let's there's our man. Yeah. Hey you. Yeah, that sorted him out. So anyway, so that's just a little scene. So you go into Rockstar Editor, you create a project. I'm speeding this up because I'm not actually playing it now. Oh look, that's me when I was playing it behind me. Isn't that freaky? I look like the Cray twins there. So anyway, you go into there. It's very clunky, the editing, but this is the good bit. Okay, you can play back the thing you just did, and then you can give it a keyframe. Okay, now stop right there. Hey you. Okay, now we're going to rewind a little bit. This is all done with one of those PlayStation controllers. BENS Gaming Show. Yep. I might even start a second channel with this stuff. Okay, so let's put a keyframe just when that rocket leaves the launcher. So back a bit, right there. We're going to put a keyframe there, and we're going to change camera angles. And this is where it gets really fun, because you can choose any angle whatsoever. It doesn't say what camera notionally you're using because it's a virtual camera. But you can choose all sorts of cameras. Now look at this. It goes all very matrix right here. You can edit the camera. So I don't want this angle. Let's change to different angles. So let's move the camera around. I mean, this beats having to lug those tripods everywhere. Let's have it from the reverse. Oh, don't cross the axis. You went to film school. You know what crossing the axis is. Don't do it. Right. Here we go. I didn't go to film school, by the way. There we go. Let's have it here. But let's zoom in a bit to get that nice depth of field as well. Okay. So we're going to zoom in. Zoom into. Oh, now we're getting it. And up a bit. There we go. Oh, that's going to be a good angle when that guy gets blown off the face of the earth. Let's go John Woo. Let's go down to 5% speed at that point. Yes. Nice. So here's our finished film here. Here's our finished film. Here's our, whoops. And here we go. Where's that guy? Hey, you! You stole my car! Come here! Check this out. Boom! Love it. And there we go. Done in about 20 minutes. And that's a phone ringing at 5% speed. So, what can we do with that other than show it off to family members who shake their heads and wonder what a 53-year-old guy is doing playing Grand Theft Auto? Hey, I'm an OG GTA player, if you don't mind. I was playing it when you were all in nappies. So what can we do with that? Well, we can get creative, can't we? Firstly, I want to just see that bit again. I want to see that bit again. There we go. Here we go. You can run, but you can't hide. No one escapes the vengeance of BoJack Cameraman. Okay, I just had to see that again. I liked it very much. So, with that, just wait till Ben gets hold of Cyberpunk. Oh, really? Oh, can we have fun with that? So, I'm going to show you a couple of things I did with this. This is in lieu of the film show tonight because I couldn't find any decent film except for some Swedes holiday in Norway, which is the most boring film I've ever seen. So, here's one I did. This is just normal day for James Bond, basically. Just mayhem going on. He's perfectly calm. Then we can just switch the angles around. Oh! There we go. So that's that one. So we can just switch the angles. It's great fun. No one was hurt in the filming of this scene. Nope. Especially not any people working for well, you know who had the loaded gun on set. Right, now finally I'm going to show you my pièce de résistance, and I shared this on some of the Grand Theft Auto forums, and it went down a storm. They loved it. They all said I was like this was proper art, they said. Okay, let's see it. And they go running away. There we go. That's it. That was another little bit there from the from the Grand Theft Auto studio. So it just shows it's not just, you know, mindless stuff. You can get arty with any kind of filmmaking or virtual camera. You can find out there. So that wraps it up, everyone. Let's whoops. Whoa, okay. Well, no, we've seen enough of that. I will be back. I will be back next week. Not on Thursday. Unfortunately, I'm working on Thursday. I can't do the camera show, but I'll be back on Friday. And on Friday, I shall be talking about bleach. Fun with bleach. We can have some fun with bleach. It's all in the developing. It's going to be a developing show next time. I might dip into a camera here and there, but I'm going to show you the most amazing things happen when in the bleach stage when you are developing reversal film. Bleach is what turns negative into positive. And if you mess with it during that process, oh my God, things happen. Oh, they do indeed. And you'll be there, hopefully, to see them happen with me. I've got some cool stuff. It might be a shorter show than usual. Getting a bit busy towards the end of next week. But yeah, that's it. And thank you everyone for joining. And you know, I've seen there's all sorts of comments. I didn't get to them all. I mean, I'm not supposed to read out all the comments, am I? But thank you, Remjet, Flying O, This Side Towards Screen, CJ Costa Rica, Michael McIlvany, Lyndon B, Filmboy24, hi Mike, Michael Carter, thanks for joining us, Super City 100, Cecil DeVille. I think we got more people than last week, certainly more people commenting. Yay. Anyway, Barry, see you next Friday. Thanks for showing. Yay! Thanks for stopping by. I'm just going to sink slowly into my gin and juice here, and I'll see you next Friday. Goodbye, everyone. And now I've got to find the stop streaming button on this damn thing. Oh, here we go. End stream. All right. And the comments are still coming in. Thanks, Ben. Oh well, you're welcome, Ian. Sorry I didn't mention you before. But yes, see you next week, next Friday, not Thursday, Friday. That's right. And I didn't put the time either. Probably the usual 7 o'clock. Yeah, 7 o'clock. If you subscribe. Oh, and one last thing. I now have 6,005 subscribers. Yay! Finally, I got past the 6,000. I'm very happy. So whoever the extra 5-10 people are who subscribed, thank you all. I'll never know who was number 6,000 probably, so I won't be able to send you your prize. But anyway, see you all. Bye-bye.